Hey folks, and welcome to a super quick version of last night. This morning, I don't have time. I have to get up really early tomorrow to do some reports, and I don't think I can do this daily, but it was an interesting day around the league yesterday, and there's some stuff that needs calling out. So I'll skip through a couple of games and just give scores and records after the fact, and then I'll try to talk about some of the more interesting ones. We'll start. I'm just going to go literally left to right, American, National, and so on and so forth. First game today was Seattle and Oakland. Seattle, obviously the heavy favorites here. You would get a win, as you'd probably expect out of Seattle. Jose Padilla would get the win for the Mariners. He'd go 6 innings, strong. Pitching 5-1 is now his record. Ian Anderson would take the loss and fall to 4-4 for the A's. He's still pitching great on the year. Did not have a good outing today as he took his fourth loss, as I said. Mariners improved to 36-27 and the A's fall to 27-36. Heavily carried by George Springer, who's been long rumored to be on the block and is barely hitting over 200. Did drive in 5 runs today, though, enough to sink the A's in a victory there for the Marlins. In the American League, you had the pitching matchup of the day as your Cy Young favorite, I guess, heading into today, Colin Hurrell, entering the day at 10-1 with a well sub 1.5 ERA. He would not have his best outing, allowing 9 hits across 4 innings, giving up 4 earned runs, and being saddled with only his second loss of the year, falling to Shohei Ohtani, who really has not had it on the mound this year, who would get his 4th win, lasting 5 innings, 2 runs allowed on 5 hits, 8 strikeouts. The bullpen would get a little shaky in the middle there, but would hold it down for the Diamondbacks. They would move to 35-27 and beat the Giants, who would fall to 41-22. The Padres and Angels would go at it in Los Angeles, and as you'd expect, Paul Erickson getting his 6th win of the year. The Padres would try to put something together late as they'd score 3 runs in the final 3 frames to pull out a respectable 8-3 loss, but they would still indeed lose to the Angels. No shame in that. The Padres will fall at 29-36. The Angels improved to 39-23, slowly catching up for the best record in baseball to those Giants, as aptly mentioned. The Battle of Chicago would go the National League's way today. As Madison Bumgarner would outduel Sandy Alcantara. Bumgarner would improve to 3-2 with a pretty decent performance. He'd allowed 3 innings for the first 3, but he'd settled down from there. He'd only last 5 1/3, 10 hits. Would be enough, though, as Bumgarner would come on in relief of, Paul Williams. Wouldn't allow any runs of his own, but wouldn't get Williams out of a jam that he got himself into, as the Cubs would take the lead in the 5th, and that would be the end of it. Back on the other side, we had Astros and Cardinals. The Astros would pull this one out. It was actually pretty scoreless for a while there until it looks like the Astros started taking on runs in the 6th. Craig Cooper would only last 2 innings. I don't know. Oh, he was hurt. That's what happened. Okay, so he got hurt after the 2nd. Andy Otero would end up being saddled with the loss for St. Louis, his 5th of the year out of the bullpen, as he would surrender 3 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Juan Davila would end up with his 2nd win, going 6, striking out 5, only allowing 2. I guess the ERA over 6. Pretty bad year for him in Houston. Edgar Arredondo would hit his 13th home run of the year. Nothing surprising there in terms of how that one finished up. The Phillies and the Brewers would go head-to-head. Another, I don't want to call it a pedestrian game, but the Brewers would end up winning, I guess, which is surprising considering everybody's feelings on the Phillies. The records don't indicate that the Phillies are much better than the Brewers. 39-24 for the Phillies, 37-26 for the Brewers. But still, I think if you ask most people, they'd say Phillies are the cream of the crop in the National League. The loss would fall to Juan Ibarra, his first on the season, as he would run up a run late in the game, in the 8th actually, top of the 8th, to take the loss. Morion would end up with a blown save and his 5th win of the year, believe it or not, as Denny Feltman would get his 15th save for the Brew Crew. Over there, the Tigers would pull out a win over the Texas Rangers. Kyle Muller would get his 5th on the year and pitched really well, actually, for the Tigers. 5 2/3, 7 strikeouts, 3 hits, no runs. To earn his 5th win, John Widner would go all to 3-8. Just take a stab at that. 3 runs over 5 innings to end up taking the loss. Eloy Jimenez hits his 9th home run in the 8th off Aaron Becker. to kind of seal this thing up for the Tigers, who already had it set at it was a 3-0 lead at the time. It wasn't really necessary, but they got the win. 25-37 for the Tigers, 30-32 for the Rangers after that one. Pittsburgh would bounce back. They got 7 runs in the third or fourth yesterday. Ended up a bench-clearing brawl, which saw their starting pitcher ejected, Ken Waldachuk, and suspended for a week. The Pirates would avenge that. Michael Wacha putting up his second great performance in a Pirates uniform since the trade. He would go 5 2/3, score 1-run baseball, 5 strikeouts, moved to 1-0 in Pittsburgh. The bullpen would hold it down from there really well. Tyler Glasnow would go 3 2/3, 4 runs allowed, fall to 2-6 with an 8.15 ERA on the year in Los Angeles. That's bad. That's very, very bad. The Pirates moved to 26-35. Dodgers fall to 25-38. Orioles would lose to Toronto, as you may expect. Seaver Sheets, pretty bad outing. 4 innings, 6 runs, only 3 of them earned as Luis Arias gives up an error. His 11th of the year, by the way. I thought that was fascinating. Luis Arias has played in 53 games. He's committed 11 errors. I mean, that has to be the worst in the league. I don't have stats in front of me, but that's really bad. Not that it would have helped much, as the Baltimore could not get the offense going. Julio Rodriguez, nowhere to be seen. Sitting on the bench is Ty Detmer and Alfredo Morales. Again, manned the corner outfield positions. Morales in his .227 average did have 2 hits, an RBI, a walk, a stolen base. But still, what the fuck is he doing in this game? Playing over Julio Rodriguez. Toronto, for their part, got homers from Brandon Brownwell and Anthony Rendon. And a 9-inning game out of Sean Gilmartin. Goes 9 innings, 3 runs. There was 132 pitches. Improved to 7-1 on the year. Somebody was complaining the other day about their guys hitting the hook fast. Apparently, I talked to Toronto because Mitch got something figured out. The Rays and the Marlins game. These are the 2 games that really made me want to do this. The Rays had 2 hits over 12 innings of baseball and walked away with the win somehow. Both of those hits belonged to Alonso Martinez. You may be thinking, oh, cool, so he won the game. He did not. David McCormick won the game as he had a sacrifice fly off of, I guess it was technically not Tejeda. It was technically Luis Martinez, but Tejeda would be saddled with the loss as his runner was on. I just thought that was fascinating. 2 hits by the same guy. The rest of your team goes 0 for on the night, including an 0 for 5 from Sullivan, an 0 for 5 from Malley. And you get the win. So good for the Rays. 34-28 for them. 37-25 for the Marlins. Tough luck loss for the Fish. Twins would beat the Yankees. It's no surprise. There's nobody. Nathan Kirby moves to 4-3. Arodys Vizcaíno falls to 0-2. C.J. Stroud would get the win in Colorado, going 1/3 of an inning, but still getting the win. As somebody, it's one of our British fellas actually made the comparison that C.J. Stroud is beating up on Bryce Young, which I didn't realize either one of these fellows were in the league, even in MLB Pro, as C.J. Stroud would throw 1/3 of an inning and get the win for Colorado. Bryce Young played shortstop on the day for the Cincinnati Reds. He actually had a couple of hits, 2 for 6. Still, the Reds would lose, and they will fall to 34-29. The Rockies improved to 24-37, trying to dig out of that deep hole they've created themselves early on. Boston would take down Atlanta. Atlanta got off to a quick 3-0 lead. They actually put on 4 more, so they're up 7-0 entering the bottom of the 5th. And we kind of fall apart from there, as Rod Swift would then allow 4 runs in the bottom of the 5th, allow another one in the bottom of the 6th before he was yanked. Harry Richardson would blow the game, allowing 3 runs over the course of an inning here. And Abraham Jones would allow 2 more. Toshihiro Iguchi would allow 2 more. Tim Cates stopped the bleeding, but at that point it was too late. It was already 12-7, and that game was over. 16 hits for the Red Sox as they played just insane baseball. Sawyer Cleveland with his 14. Dave Allen hit his 7th. Whoever the hell K. Hunter is, Kevin Hunter, whoever you are, 27-year-old nobody, hit his 6th home run of the season. Apparently he gets some good run. He was pinch hitting for a different guy whose name I don't know, E. James. Porter Cran went 4 1/3, up 7 runs, did not pitch well, but the bullpen was great. And you would look at Javier Garcia getting the win for the Red Sox, his first on the year. Frustrations continue in Atlanta. Celebration continues in Boston. The Mets would lose to Washington. Despite being up 4-2 in the bottom of the sixth, the Washington Nationals would score 3 in the bottom of the sixth to come out with a 5-4 win in that one. And the final game that we have tonight is a 2-1 win for the Guardians over the Royals, as the Royals 0-5 in the month of June. No home runs, I believe I saw them say, and just huge amounts of frustration coming out of that front office. Jason Neal didn't pitch terrible, was pulled after 85 pitches and allowing 2 runs. The bullpen pitched great. That's not really the problem here. They just couldn't get anything offensively going. 9 hits, including 2 extra base hits, I guess. That's it, though. Not 2 of 9 is all you get. It's not going to get it done, and the Guardians will come away with the win, 27-35 to the 28-35 Kansas City Royals. That's it. That's everything. I just thought a couple of those games were interesting, and I'm trying to do this whenever I can. So appreciate everybody listening, and I'll catch you next time.